sounded like we were in a hailstorm. It was like when you were a kid and we used to make popcorn in a pressure cooker. The temperature comes up and begins to pop.
They were coming in through my doors, they were hitting my tanker, they were hitting my windshield, they were coming in through hitting the engine. You could hear them come in through one door, hit the other door where they lodged in, and I mean, they're just coming in everywhere.
And then it reached a crescendo and just seemed like it never stopped after that.
And then I could hear the men crying on the radio, yelling out for help. I'm burning, help me, please don't let me die in Iraq.
Truck behind me, his trailer caught fire and he overturned and was trapped inside the truck and burned up.
I heard one yelling and screaming and until he stopped.
Friends that I'd promised before that, you know, if they broke down or something happened, I wouldn't leave them. I hear them screaming, I'm hit, help me, please, I don't want to die here.
I was completely saturated with blood, you know, and my pants were soaked with blood, my shirt was soaked with blood.
It was just absolutely just sheer terror. Just absolutely, positively horrifying. And I still feel, I still have that shaky sort of thing in me. It's like sitting here right now, it's like I'm still there.
The mutilated bodies of 4 people were found west of Baghdad, near an area where a U.S. fuel convoy was attacked on Friday. After that attack, 7 Americans were reported missing, including contractors working for Halliburton, a company that supplies fuel and other supplies to U.S. troops. The families were notified today of the discovery. Halliburton did release a statement saying, quote, "We at Halliburton are saddened to learn of these deaths and are working with authorities so the families can begin the grieving and healing process." 2 U.S. soldiers are missing, and also Thomas Hamill from Macon, Mississippi, an American contractor with Halliburton.
Saturday, April 10th, and one day after I got the first phone call from Halliburton and KBR, Steve, when you get back to base, please call me. I got a call yesterday saying that you are missing after heavy fighting and more attacks. You and 9 others.
To sharpen.
And what are these rocks called again? I forgot. Dad told us, but I don't remember. Like shale?
I'm not sure.
I just turned 50 and it's hard to have to, you know, reinvent yourself like you're a teenager again. When all your dreams go and things go out the tube. So, he was definitely the love of my life. He firmly believed that KBR and Halliburton were going to keep him safe. I mean, he truly did. He was very positive about that. Right up to the end, he believed he would be safe.
He wasn't much of a writer, that's for sure. His journal's empty.
My dad had just told me he was going to work for Halliburton, and how big they were and how they were there to help rebuild.
Somebody knew that they sent these wonderful men out there. How can they do that? These men went to do the right thing. So, bottom line, they were totally taken advantage of.
Well, I trusted the company. I trusted them. This is a Fortune 500 company. I just don't believe they would send me down a road that was closed or was going to have hostile activity for sure. That didn't even cross my mind.
And U.S. forces here are saying openly they're braced for more terror attacks, more bombings.
We had a significant anniversary, the fall of Baghdad. We had a Christian holiday, and they converged to create what was an obvious day of danger. Halliburton and KBR had news from multiple sources, including multiple sources in the military, that the roads that day were under active combat operations and were black, closed, and/or red. No civilians.
There were sitting ducks out there in military trucks on that day.
They told us we couldn't wear camouflage or anything that made us look like military. The point was clear that we were not soldiers and we were not to behave like soldiers.
He couldn't even wear a camouflage shirt on base, let alone driving a military fuel truck out in, the desert where there was a war around him.
Why would they send this convoy in camouflage trucks down that road in the middle of battle?
It's about contracts, I believe, fulfilling a contract and replacing us if we died. There's a lot of different contracts being offered out there, and Caliburn wants most of them. If they could have them all, they would take them all. And they wanted to continue doing business with the Army, whatever the risks were.
It was nothing but the money. There's no duty, honor, country among anyone at Halliburton KBR.
Halliburton, KBR, some of these other firms over there are staying over there and continuing to make profits, big money, and people are just at the cost of human life.
Their contract with the Army provided them literally billions of dollars of revenue every year, that the contract profit and the contract profit that they made became more important than the lives of the men that they hired.
I think we're talking about what's right and the fact that you sacrificed our loved ones for your profit.
KBR kill, bag, and replace people. They tried to do it with us, and they killed my friends, as far as I'm concerned, and they tried to kill me. I know they know.
This is a case about Halliburton and KBR trying to make a profit at time of war and using civilians in an improper fashion.
Halliburton is in charge of seeing that these men and their employees are safe. Sent these men out on April 9th and they knew that there was more than a good chance that they would be killed.
When people talk about, they gave their lives or this thing, and I can assure you that they did not. They were stolen from them. They were screaming and didn't want to go. And there wasn't anything great or glorious about the whole obscene ordeal. They didn't die, they didn't pass away, they were murdered.
KBR got billions of dollars worth of contracts in Iraq without a bidding.
Halliburton got the government contract without competitive bidding.
In the case of Halliburton, most of the contracts they've received have been sole source contracts, which means they're either given the contract, it's just offered to them, or they're the only people that bid on it. A lot of federal officials will defend this, saying that this is the only company that could do the work.
Conservatives especially, who favor a free market system, should be outraged about the degenerate state of the lack of competition in defense industry.
Bunentine Greenhouse, a top contracting officer at the Army Corps of Engineers, alleges favoritism and rule breaking.
I walked into a process that was corrupt, that was geared toward preferential treatment to KBR. KBR was pre-selected. The duration of the contract was predetermined. Most blatant abuse that I had experienced in my contracting career.
The American way is competition, and I cannot sufficiently stress that in defense industry, when it comes to the big programs, there is not competition. It's monopoly and cartel behavior. It is corrupt, it is corrupting, it is corrosive to our national defense.